well, what's after a director? Well, now I own the studio.
Yeah.
I'm a master in life. So like, do you want to take the steps to get yourself from a floater to a master? And if so, good for you. That's great because your life is, you now got freedom.
Yeah.
You now have happiness because you don't chase it, you create it.
Yeah. And the more you consciously work on that, the more easy it gets to be automatically just responsive.
100%.
Like in the past, I'll be very angry and reactive. Like I used to have a lot of anger within me. Then now if something happens, like I don't even process anger. I don't even process anything like that. Straight away, I'm not reactive at all. Like I love every now and then it could happen, but I know straight away I'll get myself out of it. But most of the time now, like I don't react. It's because I feel like you can train yourself to get to a point where you just think like, oh, okay. Like you're not actually so emotionally involved in every little thing that happens every day.
That's that AAA battery, bro.
Yeah.
That's that awareness, acceptance, and acknowledgement. What needs to come next or whatever it is. Ty's probably going to send me a message and be like, Chris, you absolutely ruined that AAA thing. That wasn't actually the words. But you know, that's
Ty, come on the potty, brother.
That's what I picked up from him anyway. But that's the thing, right? And like tapping into, I guess, like, or talking about per se, like how you perceive things. A great example would be, all right, so let's just say that there's a park and every time you go past that park, something bad happened there. So you feel that consistent emotion arise and you're reacting to it. And it's like, well, how do we change that? Well, we create a new emotional home for that place. I'm going to go from having I know a great example, a breakup in the park, not broken up in a park, but a great example, to having a picnic in a park with friends and family that I love. Now I go past that park and I feel great.
Yeah.
And that is a prime example of like, all you have to do is create a new experience or a new response to something or someone to change how you respond in life versus react in life. And that's, I think it's just like game changing.
100%. Like when I first quit drugs, people were confused. Like, how are you still hanging around drugs all the time? Like when I was sober, when I first got sober, I'm like, because I don't feel the initial reaction to do it. Like I've accepted this so much where I'm at a point now where I can be around it, not have temptations, not be triggered, not be anything. Like I can just be around it. It's cool. I'm not saying now I'm around those environments, but when I first quit, I could be. No. It was fine. You know?
And a big thing is like even a friend of mine, he went back home and there was people he used to hang out with and then he was back home. So he started hanging around them and he said to me, he's like, I don't want to be around these people. Like, you know, like they're just not on like my level or where I want to go. And I said to him, I was like, maybe you need to take away the perspective of you think you're better than them,
100%.
and replace it with what can I learn from them, or how can I inspire them to change their life? Yeah,
because when I jump on podcasts and people interview me, they always ask me like, oh, how many people do you have to cut off and things like that? And I'm like, I've still got all the same friends. A lot of them have grown on this journey with me, but I didn't have to cut people off because at the end of the day, like I've built such a deep relationship with these people. They're still the same people with the same values. I still love them.
It's respect, bro.
Like, yeah, it's just respect. But it's just like, just because I quit doesn't mean that they're less than me and they're whatnot. Like I still see them as my equals. It's just I'm on a different path, and that's fine.
And I think that's a misconception. A lot of the time, people are like, "Oh, you got to cut all these people out of your life, or you got to stop hanging around, lose it." And like, now let's clarify this because I don't like to say those things, cliffhangers, and then just leave them because people create their own scenarios and they. X, Y, and Z said this and blah, 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 blah. And Gary Vee's horrendous for it. He says all this shit and then just leaves it. Yeah. And it's like, well, where's the explanation, right? Like, no wonder people are losing their mind or getting crazy or they don't understand how to create wealth or blah, 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 blah. It's because, like, he's saying quotes.
Yeah.
And it's like, these can be magnified into something more or catastrophized into something more. So it's like, well, from that, it's like, well, how do you change that perspective of, no, I can still hang around with people that I used to, but I also need to hang around more people that are on a level that I want to be on. And it's like, well, it just goes down to like, well, I'm going to have a month to catch up with some of the home dogs, home slices, you know, whenever I do. And that like, but I know who I am now and I can put myself in those environments because I'm not going to subside to who I used to be.
Yeah.
And everyone in the room respects who I am right now. And that's why we're sitting at this table.
Yeah.
But I'm also going to find a lot of cool other people as well that are, you know, in a place that I want to be, or they're on the same level.
That's the way I look at it. Like, I'm not losing anything. I'm gaining. I'm gaining more into life.
100%.
Yeah.
It's all about like appreciating everything and not being this person that's like, yo, I'm going to fucking cut this person off because they just ain't killing it, blah, 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 or blah, blah, blah. And it's like, well, no, you can still talk to these people.
Yeah.
It's just like, well, just be more mindful about your time.
Yeah, 100%. I feel like when I quit drugs, if I just cut everyone off and stopped hanging around that environment and stayed on a different path, I'm like, well, I never got comfortable in those environments with this new perspective of who I believe I am. So who am I when I go back into these environments? Will I just give in and fold into pressure because I haven't built the resilience of saying no, or I haven't built the willpower? But being around those environments still when I first quit made me realize I have decisions, I have choices, I'm the one in control.
100%.
And now I'm in those environments, which is basically never, like around drugs. But if I do ever get around it, I know I'm comfortable enough to be around it, not have any temptation whatsoever.
Yeah.
Because I built that resilience and willpower to be around it and not have an emotional reaction to it.
100%. And that's just because you know who you are.
Yeah, 100%.